So today's class is on My Last Duchess by Robert Browning. I am not going into the description of the life of Robert Browning. It can be analyzed in a different class because in your exam you will not get to write the life story of Robert Browning. Okay. What is most important? First, the question that is most important from your exam point of view is the dramatic monologue. Okay, and in this lecture I will be focusing on the textual descriptions or the textual analysis, and also how the dramatic monologue is important over here. Okay, how the dramatic monologue is the heart and soul of this poem. Okay, so the date and occasion, if we look at the date and occasion of this poem, the original title of the poem was Italy, Italy, or Italy. Okay, it was first published in Bells and Pomegranates, okay, number 3, under the title Dramatic Lyrics in 1842. Okay, and if you see here, it falls under the Victorian age, because the Victorian age, which begins with the coronation of Queen Victoria in 1837, or some believe that it begins from the Reform Bill, which was published or which was enacted in 1832. It lasted up till 1901. So this poem, poem falls under the Victorian age, and as we all know that Robert Browning is a Victorian poet. So in 1842 this poem was paired with France, which was under the title Italy and France, and was replaced by the present title, that is My Last Duchess, in 1849. Okay, it also included in dramatic romances in 1868. So whatever it may be, whatever may the title be, it is important to look into the detail of the lines. Why Italy was a title? Because most of the critics interpret this poem as a study of the Italian Renaissance. Okay, like Divan, one of the critics, reads in it the culture and morality of the Italian Renaissance. Okay, he says that this poem depicts the culture and the morality of the Italian Renaissance through the Duke, through the Duchess who is not present now, My Last Duchess. I will be going into the title in a bit. Okay, what we find here is that the Duke's image is of Alfonso II, the Duke of Ferrara. Okay, and what we find here is that Browning's Duchess may be studied in the context of the fate of Lucrezia, who is the wife of Alfonso II. Okay, so it might be that Browning got inspired from that story, and also we get to see this story in the light of the Duke's own life or real life. Divan further suggests that the original of Count's emissary in the poem may be supposed to be Nicholas Madras of Innsbruck, who renegotiated for Alfonso's next marriage on behalf of Count of Tyrol and whatever. So what is happening in this poem? In this poem, in short, I am telling you, in My Last Duchess, the Duke is describing a painting. Okay, describing a painting of his last Duchess, that is of his last wife. To whom? To an envoy, একজন মেসেঞ্জার, একজন রিপ্রেজেন্টেটিভকে দেখাচ্ছে। কোথাকার রিপ্রেজেন্টেটিভ of the Count of Tyrol. Okay, Tyrol. So he is describing the painting, he is describing the painting of his last Duchess, his last wife, over here, and he is describing the beauty, he is describing the characteristics of the last Duchess. Okay, and in the way of describing, in the process of describing the last Duchess, what we get to see the Duke's character is also evolving. We get to see the character of Duke, how he is. Okay, সেই জিনিসগুলো হচ্ছে clearly বেরিয়ে আসছে. Okay, and at this moment, why the envoy is over here, why the envoy from the Count of Tyrol is over here, because he is here to negotiate on behalf of Count of Tyrol for the next marriage with Duke. Okay, Count Tyrol's niece will be given in hand, will be given in marriage to the Duke over here. ওকে, যে কাউন্ট অফ টাইরোলের যে নিস রয়েছে তাকে হচ্ছে এইখানটায় বিয়েতে দেওয়া হবে। সেই ডিলিংস করার জন্য, সেই কথাবার্তা বলার জন্য ওই মেসেঞ্জারটা এখানটায় এসছে বা এনভয়টা এসছে এখানটায়। ওকে, সো দ্য এনভয় ইজ হিয়ার অন পারপাস। ওকে, সো দিস ইজ দ্য স্টোরি, অ্যান্ড দ্য speaker over here is the Duke, and the Duke is describing the painting, and while describing the painting, what we see, he is describing the character, the nature, and somewhat the life story, a bit of a life story of the Duchess, his wife. Okay, and by doing so he is also describing his own nature. Then অন্যের কথা বলতে গিয়ে তার কথার মধ্যে দিয়ে what we get to see Duke's own character getting reflected. Through his own words we get to see his own words reflected. Okay, so two characters are being presented, the Duchess's character and also the Duke's character. Okay, so also what we find here is that this Browning has intrigued by the dramatic contrast inherent in the Renaissance within one character, and this dramaticness or this dramatic character is inscribed within this poem. Why? Because of the dramatic monologue technique of the dramatic monologue which has been used over here. What is a dramatic monologue? Dramatic monologue is a technique in which the speaker speaks throughout the poem, and we get a feeling that he is addressing someone. Through his dialogue, through his actions, we get to feel that someone else is present. But as this is a monologue, that person will not speak a single word. Okay, that person will only enact, that person will act, and to that the person who is speaking will react. Okay, and through this reaction we will get to see or get to feel or get to understand that someone else is also present in the scene. Okay, so I am explaining again. In a dramatic monologue, what happens? In a setting of a dramatic monologue, we get a feeling that more than one person is present. Okay, how? Because there is this voice of only one person. Okay, there is this voice of only one person who is speaking, but he is speaking as if he is addressing someone. সে যেন কাউকে উদ্দেশ্য করে কথা বলছে। How? Okay, you understood না? Okay, then let's move on. Why are you looking at me like this? What do you get to feel? আমরা কি বুঝতে পারি এটার থেকে, যে যখনই হচ্ছে একজন স্পিকার, when a speaker is saying why are you looking at me like this, that means the other person who is present in the room is looking at him, right? So this is a dramatic monologue. This is a monologue. What does monologue mean? Monologue means a single person's voice, a single person's words, which has been narrated throughout, right? But why it is dramatic? It is dramatic because it gives a dramatic transformation, or it gives a dramatic impact. Okay, that's why it is a dramatic monologue. It will be uh, quite likely for you to believe that Browning is the sole dramatic monologue writer, but it is not. Dramatic monologue is not invented by him. Okay, Browning is not, or Browning did not invent the dramatic monologue or the form of dramatic monologue, but he actually perfected it. Okay, he perfected the form. Okay, so it is a form, it is a dialogue in which what we get to a person is speaking, but here, as this is a dramatic monologue, in this poem or in other poems where we get to see that someone else is also present. Okay, you have seen in several other poems, like in To His Coy Mistress, or not To His Coy Mistress, in Sun Rising, I think, in Good Morrow, if I am not wrong, in several other poems, and especially in Browning's poem. Okay, you will get to see in Fra Lippo Lippi, you will see. Okay, what we get to see here is that in dramatic monologue, the people who are present, among them one is silent and another one is speaking, and the first person who is speaking is addressing to that silent person. The silent listener is present. Okay, the listener is silent, but his actions will be imprinted on the words of the speaker. মানে কি? মানে হচ্ছে যে সাইলেন্ট লিসনার তো রয়েছে, কিন্তু সাইলেন্ট লিসনারের যে অ্যাকশনসগুলো, সে যে কাজ করছে, এই দিকে যাচ্ছে, এই কাজ করছে, অন্যদিকে তাকাচ্ছে, তার যে অ্যাকশনসগুলো, দ্যাট উইল বি রিফ্লেক্টেড in the words of the speaker. Okay, similarly what we will see when the envoy from the Count of Tyrol looks amazed at the after seeing the Duchess's painting, he will look at the Duke, and the Duke will explain it by how he will say, I know what you are asking, or I know what you are thinking. Okay, so he is the one who will speak, but it will give us a feeling that he is speaking to someone else. Okay, so let's move on to the lines that we have. Okay, the lines are important in order to understand from the perspective of your exam. Okay, so the scene is here, like the Duke has taken the envoy from the Count of Tyrol in front of the painting. Okay, so here it begins. That's my last Duchess, painted on the wall, looking as if she were alive. Okay, so before that I go into the first line. What we get to see from the title of the poem, or how important it is, the title, how important the title is, or why it is changed from Italy to My Last Duchess. Why? Because each word is important. Okay, each word in this title is important. Okay, so the first word here is my. What does my symbolize? The word my symbolizes possessiveness. Amar last Duchess. Okay, so from the very first line, what we get we get to see there is possessiveness in the character of the Duke. As I told you before also, that the character of the Duke, the character of the Duchess, the Duke is trying to present the character of the Duchess, but while doing so, he will also describe his own character. Okay, he does that from the very first line only. Okay, he does that, or the poet does that from the very title itself. My Last Duchess. So the very first word, my, describes possessiveness. Possessiveness, car possessiveness? Obviously the possessiveness of the husband, possessiveness of the Duke. Right. So he says that my last Duchess. Clear? Amar last Duchess. Okay, next, move on to the next word. Last. My last Duchess. The second word is last. My last Duchess. At the same moment, what we find, he is showing possessiveness. He is showing that Amar last Duchess. At authority create coach. He is creating a what he is trying to project here is that his egoism. Okay, হচ্ছে তার মাই শব্দটার মধ্যে দিয়ে আমার, okay, as if he owns. Okay, but in the next line what do you see? We see that the next word is not next line. The next word is last. My last Duchess. আমার last Duchess. Last Duchess কি বলছে? Last word, what does it shows? It shows that there is this feeling of detachment. আমার শেষের Duchess. Okay, it shows that it is a sense of detachment. Okay, last, ঠিক আছে, আমার শেষ last Duchess ওটা, শেষের Duchess, শেষের wife ওটা, which also suggests that he might have a string of wives. তার অনেকগুলো বউ ছিল, হয় তারা মারা গেছে বা তাদেরকে ছেড়ে দিয়েছে, যাই হোক, অবভিয়াসলি মারাই গেছে, তখন ছেড়ে দেওয়ার টেন্ডেন্সিটা খুব কম ছিল. সো হি হ্যাড আ স্ট্রিং অফ ওয়াইভস অ্যান্ড দ্যাট is the last one. Okay, and that is the last one not because he is not going to marry again, but ওখানটায় হচ্ছে তার বিয়েটা শেষ হয়েছে. Okay, so what we find here is that there is this possessiveness, there is this tendency of treating women as property. তাদেরকে মেটেরিয়ালিস্টিক থিং হিসেবে ট্রিট করা, তাদের নিজেদের কোনো অস্তিত্ব নেই. They do not have any existence on their own. That is being represented, and that is represented in the third word most importantly. Okay, the third word কি করে দেখাচ্ছে? Third word হচ্ছে কি Duchess. Okay, my last Duchess. So the Duchess is what? Duchess is a rank which is associated with Duke. Okay, she is Duchess only because her husband is a Duke. Okay, তার মানে তার সোশ্যাল স্ট্যাটা, তার সোশ্যাল পজিশন, তার সোশ্যাল যে সেক্টরে সে বিলং করে সেইটাকে হচ্ছে দেখিয়ে দিচ্ছে. And what we get to see here is that there is this kind of aristocratic egoism that is present. Okay, and what we find here is that the Duke is very egoistic person. He reveals his ego, he reveals his possessiveness by saying that this is my last Duchess in the first line itself. Okay, so and in the poem also we will see the Duke was not in favor of the Duchess when the Duchess treated everyone equally, irrespective of their social strata, irrespective of their social position. She would treat everyone equally, which was not liked by the Duke. Okay, so the My Last Duchess, the title My Last Duchess, showcases possessiveness, the treatment of women as property, the treatment of women from a materialistic point of view, okay, from the angle of the patriarchal world, okay, the patriarchal society, where we get to see a misogynistic point of view, obviously, in the later half of the poem, later sections of the poem. And obviously there is possessiveness, but at the same time what we get at this moment, in the next what we get, there is unfeelingness, there is detachment associated with it, because he has moved on. সে একটা এনভয়কে এন্টারটেইন করছে কেন? হি ইজ entertaining an envoy because he is going to marry again. So see the contrasting pictures, possessiveness in one hand, and in another hand we get this unfeeling detachment. Okay, সে একটা জিনিসকে ধরে রাখতে বেশি ভালোবাসে, সে একটা জিনিসকে তার অধীনস্থ করে রাখতে ভালোবাসে। হি লাইকস টু ক্যাপচার, হি লাইকস টু possess a thing, but the moment it is gone, he is moving on to get another thing. That is his tendency, that is his way of dealing with things. And as I have told you before also, in this line, in the very let's move on to the line, that's my last Duchess painted on the wall. So see, from the tone itself, as I told you, the dramatic monologue technique showcases us that there will be one speaker, and he will be speaking to someone else, or we will get a feeling that he is addressing someone else. Okay, and that is clear from the very first line. That's my last Duchess painted on the wall. So he is addressing someone, obviously he is addressing the envoy from the Count of Tyrol. As I have read the poem, I know, I am telling you from the beginning only to make things clear. That is my last Duchess painted on the wall. দেখো, ওই দেখো, ওটা হচ্ছে যে পেইন্টিংটা দেখতে পাচ্ছ, ওটা হচ্ছে আমার লাস্ট ডাচেসের পেইন্টিং। ঠিক আছে, আমার লাস্ট ওয়াইফের পেইন্টিং, and it is painted on the wall. Obviously in royal societies there used to be paintings of ডিউকস, ডাচেসেস। তখনকার দিনে তার ফটো থাকতো না, যে একটা সেলফি তুলে নিলাম, একটা হুট করে একটা ফটো তুলে নিলাম, তার জন্য পেইন্টিং করা হতো। And more importantly, the painting here is because the person is not alive. Okay, but what we see, he is saying that that's my last Duchess painted on the wall. He is addressing the envoy of the Count of Tyrol, that see the painting, it is a painting on the wall, but it is looking like what? It is alive, looking as if she were alive. দেখো, তাকে দেখে মনে হচ্ছে কি সে যেন বেঁচে আছে। So what does this suggest? This suggests that actually in reality the Duchess is not alive. Okay, when one says that see the painting, it showcases that, it shows that the painting is alive or she is alive. দেখে মনে হচ্ছে সে যেন জীবন্ত হয়ে রয়েছে। ঠিক আছে, তার মানে কি, it shows that the person is actually not alive. In reality that person is not alive. And more to say, he has already said that is my last Duchess, এটা আমার last Duchess. So it is clear from the first line only that the Duchess is already dead. How dead, why dead, who killed her, or how she is dead, that is not known to us yet. Okay, so we get to know that the Duchess is already dead from the second line only. He says that look as if she were alive. He is asking the envoy to see that দেখো, লুক বলতে এখানে দেখো, দেখো দেখে মনে হচ্ছে যেন সে বেঁচে আছে। Okay, so the last Duchess is already dead. Okay, understood. So, next line. I call that piece a wonder. Now, Fra Pandolf's hands walked busily a day, and there she stands. So, what he is describing? He is describing the painting. He is describing the painting and saying that, see this piece of art. I call this a wonder. Okay, I call this thing a wonder because this piece of art was created by Fra Pandolf. Okay, Fra means friar or brother. Fra Pandolf, who is an imaginary artist, obviously. Fra Pandolf actually created this art. He worked busily a day. Okay, this work of art, this painting of the Last Duchess was created within a single day. Okay, the friar worked for one full day to complete the portrait. Okay, or the painting. Worked busily a day, and there she stands. And there she stands বলতে সে ওখানটায় দাঁড়িয়ে আছে, মানে ডাচেস কি দাঁড়িয়ে আছে? অ্যাকচুয়ালি নো, ডাচেস ইজ নট স্ট্যান্ডিং দেয়ার. Who is standing there? The painting of the Duchess is standing there. And also what we get to see, the imagery of being alive. The imagery of being alive is inscribed over there. Okay, standing. Okay, one can only stand when one is alive, right? But here the person is not alive. Okay, the painting is standing there. বোঝা গেছে? So what we get to see over here is that this duke is dealing with the thing, dealing with the capacity of his ego, where he shows that in spite of the person being dead, in spite of his wife being dead, he is captivated. And you will see in the last lines also, he has captivated the person in that frame, in that painting. সেই মানুষটা তাকে পাত্তা দিত না, ঠিক আছে, তার ওয়াইফ তাকে পাত্তা দিত না, তাতে কি, but he is able to capture that wife, he is able to capture that person in that frame. Okay, so and you will see that, we'll see this explanation in the later half. What he says that piece of work is a wonder for him because Fra Pandolf, as I said before also, Fra means friar, Friar, it also means brother. Okay, it is a post in church, okay, or cathedrals or monasteries. Okay, friar is a post, and here Fra Pandolf is the name of an imaginary artist. He is using that name Fra Pandolf in order to give importance to the painting. Okay, a friar drew this painting. Okay, a friar drew this painting to give importance to his aristocracy, to give importance to his social status. Okay, and that is why he is using that name. And the Fra Pandolf, the painter, the imaginary artist, worked busily throughout a day and finished that work. And she stands means the painting stands. Okay, সেই পেইন্টিংটা হচ্ছে ওখানটায় দাঁড়িয়ে রয়েছে. Clear? Next, will it please you sit and look at her? So he is asking a question, but it is a rhetorical question where he is directing actually the envoy to sit and watch the painting. Okay, so some kind of a chair or a bench or something is there in front of the painting of the Duchess. He is asking the envoy, will it please you to sit and look at her? বলছে আপনি আপনি কি এখানটায় বসে হচ্ছে এই পেইন্টিংটাকে দেখবেন, সেটাই আপনার ভালো লাগবে? So what we get here is that the Duke takes pride in the painting. Okay, the Duke takes pride in the painting of the Last Duchess. তার বিউটিতে, তার যে ডেসক্রিপশন রয়েছে তাতে বিউটিতে, obviously he takes pride, and that's why he is showcasing that painting, right? If you do not take pride in anything, you won't showcase that. তোর যেটায় অহংকার হয় না, তোর যেটা ভালো লাগে না, সেটা তুই দেখাবি না. The thing that you take pride in, you will obviously showcase that. For example, if you get something, if you have some achievement, okay, you will obviously showcase that more and more, and that's what we do. That's what we do in Facebooks, in Instas, and in several things, in several places. We obviously show our achievements. Okay, we never show our failures. Okay, we never show our failures or struggles or anything on social media or anything, or we do not even tell anyone. Only we tell to our closed ones, right? So what we get to see over here is that this person takes pride in this painting, and that's why he is asking the envoy to be there. Will you please to sit and look here? And again what we see there is this dramatic technique. Okay, this dramatic technique is used where we get a feeling that he is addressing someone, he is talking to someone. Now বসতে বলবে কেন? Why would he ask anyone to sit down? Okay, সে কি আদৌ বলবে কাউকে বসার জন্য if no one is present? Is he mad or what? Obviously someone is present. We get a feeling that someone is present, and that is why he is asking that person to sit and look at it. Okay, will it please you? Okay, you will like it. So the Duke points whenever the stranger like this envoy, okay, I will come to that. Okay, I said Fra Pandolf by design, for never read strangers like you that pictured countenance, the depth and passion of the earnest glance. So what he is saying? He is saying that আমি হচ্ছে সবসময়, what does countenance means? Countenance means face, FACE. Okay, so he said that the Duke says that Fra Pandolf by design, this painting is a good example of a design of Fra Pandolf's work of art. Okay, Fra Pandolf by design, for never read strangers like you that pictured countenance. Okay, here read means examined. So the Duke points out that whenever the stranger like this envoy looked at the portrait, they were struck by the deep and passionate look in the face of the Duchess. Okay, so they are easily, or the glance of the Duchess. Okay, there is the painting showcases a strong, deep feeling, okay, in the eyes of the Duchess. Glance বলতে এখানে look, দেখা, চাহনি, ঠিক আছে, যেভাবে দেখছে. Okay, so the strong and the deep feeling, what we get here is that this painting, the depth and passion of the earnest glance. What he is saying that you are not the one, you are not the only one. The Duke is saying you are not the only one to be mesmerized by the painting of Fra Pandolf, the painting by Fra Pandolf. Okay, you are not the only one. Every stranger whom I allow to see the Duchess, okay, whom I allow to see the Duchess, or have asked them to come over here. What we get to see? We get to see that this person is obviously awestruck. Not only you, everyone who looks at this painting becomes awestruck. সবাই হচ্ছে হতবাক হয়ে যায়. Okay, so the Duke points out that whenever any stranger like this envoy looks at the portrait, they were awestruck by the deep and passionate look that is painted, that is there in the face of the Duchess. ওকে, ডাচেসের যে মুখ রয়েছে, ডাচেসের যে ফেস রয়েছে, তার যে চোখ রয়েছে, তার মধ্যে যে ডিপ একটা প্যাশনেট গ্লান্স রয়েছে, সেইটার মধ্যে, সেইটার থ্রু দিয়ে কি হচ্ছে, সেইটার থ্রু দিয়ে যে প্যাশনটা রয়েছে, দ্যাট ইজ মেকিং পিপল অস্ট্রাক। ওকে, তাদেরকে হতবাক করে দিচ্ছে। ক্লিয়ার? সো again what we see here is that he has commissioned the painting. The Duke has asked the imaginary artist or the artist to paint this. He has commissioned that, she tar jonne taka diyeche, but what we see here is that he is taking pride in that. He is taking pride in that position. she tate hocche অহংকার করছে। Okay, so there is a strong and deep feeling. Okay, there is a deep feeling in the eyes of the Duchess, and every stranger like this person is awestruck by that. But to myself they turned, since none puts by the curtain I have drawn for you but I, and seemed as they would ask me, if they durst, how such a glance came there. So not the first are you to turn and ask thus. So what he is saying? He is saying that this painting is only for me. Okay, this painting is only for me. No one else is allowed to see this unless I draw the curtains. The painting is always closed by the curtains. পর্দা দিয়ে সেটাকে ঢাকা থাকে. They are covered by the curtains. It is only me who can see the painting. Okay, I am the only one who can see who is allowed to see the painting, or who is able to see the painting, and the only people who are allowed to see the painting whom I allow to see it. Okay, for the person I draw the curtains, আমি যাদের জন্য হচ্ছে এই কার্টেন্স গুলো, এই পর্দাগুলো সরিয়ে দিই, only those people are able to see this painting. Okay, the people are not able to see the painting unless I allow them to. Okay, but to myself they turned. They here means the strangers who are allowed to see the painting. Okay, and what we see here is that since none puts by the curtain I have drawn for you. I have drawn for you here means I have opened for you. Clear? So what we feel or what we see over here is that from the very first lines painted on the wall, it indicates that Browning's aptitude for painting. Okay, it also shows that Duke might be an art collector who has this knack of collecting art. Okay, and also by using the Fra Pandolf's name used by the Duke, which is an imaginary artist, Duke is using that name to impress the envoy, okay, of his prospective father-in-law with his position and efficiency and everything. So what we find here is that in the first 5 lines, we get to see that the jealous and possessive duke had his duchess put on a wall or seat as a model for a friar. Okay, and that too only for one day. Okay, a day here means a whole day. So what we find here is that this duke has this certain kind of tendencies of possessiveness, of restricting the movements of a person. Okay, so again what we see here is that the duke points out that as I told you before also, whenever these people look into the eyes of the duchess, they see a deep and passionate look in the eyes of the duchess, and they look up in curiosity towards him. Okay, they look up to him, they look up towards the duke in curiosity to know or to get to know what made this passion so clear. Okay, so since none put the curtains I have drawn for you, here he tries to project here is that I have drawn. He finds this callous gratification. Okay, he finds this callous gratification at the thought that he has now contained the duchess. Okay, the duchess being dead, he has now contained the duchess and her smile at his command. And you will see in line number 30 and so, or even in line number 40, why this is so important. Okay, I have drawn, এই যে বলছে I have drawn, এই লাইনটা প্রচন্ড পরিমাণে significant. Why? Because he wants to show that he is the boss. Okay, he is in power, he is in command. Okay, I have drawn, আমি যেটা আপনাকে দেখার সুযোগ করে দিয়েছি. I am the person who has allowed you to see this painting. By this, he is not just showing that he is in power at this moment, but he also wanted to show that he has captured his wife. Okay, in whatever way possible. And why this is so important? Because during his lifetime, okay, during the Duchess's lifetime, during her lifetime, she treated everyone equally, even her husband. Okay, she smiled equally to a clown, she smiled equally to her husband, and that what made the duke jealous. Okay, তাকে jealous করে দিত duke, and that is why it hurt his ego. তার ego তাতেই হচ্ছে hurt হতো, and because of that he was so instigated that he killed the duchess, or he ordered to kill the duchess, and you will see how, okay, in the next sections only. Okay, so what we get over here is that this person says that I have drawn for you. That means he tries to showcase that he is in power, he wants to get his power enacted, he wants to get his power showcased. Okay, I have drawn for you, but and seemed as they would ask me. They here means the visitors, the strangers. Okay, the strangers would like to know how that passionate look got into her face, got into her painting. Okay, because those paintings were live. Okay, and seemed as they would ask me if they durst how such a glance came there. Okay, they tried to ask, they would, if they dare, okay, if they dare to ask the duke from where that glance came into the face or the eyes of the Duchess or the painting. Okay, and as they would, when he is saying that as they would, what he is trying to show, as though they would, if they durst, D-U-R-S-T. If they durst, here it means that the Duke's senses of superiority, okay, his sense of superiority is explained over here on the account of his status, okay, in this stratified society is indicated. Okay, all the visitors who used to come to his house were below him. Okay, he was much superior to them, and if they dared to ask to him, if they dared to ask what, how that passionate look came into her eyes. Okay, let's end it here today.